The year was 1945. The world was weary from war. Yet in the Pacific, the most colossal amphibious invasion in human history was brewing, Operation Downfall. This was to be the final brutal act to bring Japan to its knees. However, the atomic bombs exploded over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, casting a long shadow over Downfall, a shadow that turned a potential battlefield into a haunting what-if. The world remembers the atomic bombs and their horrifying consequences, but few know of the massive invasion force poised to unleash a storm of steel upon the Japanese home islands. The world held its breath, bracing for a conflict of unimaginable ferocity. It was a clash of ideologies, of national pride, of sheer survival. The stage was set for a confrontation that would forever shape the destiny of nations and the lives of millions. Operation Downfall was not just a military operation. It was a glimpse into a terrifying alternate future, a future where the atomic bomb remained unused, and the world held its breath, waiting for the outcome of the largest invasion in human history. Operation Downfall was a monster with two heads, each poised to strike a devastating blow. The first strike was to be Operation Olympic, scheduled for November 1945. This massive undertaking aimed to capture the southernmost main Japanese island at Kyushu. It would pave the way for the even larger Operation Coronet, the invasion of the Kanto Plain near Tokyo, planned for March 1946. The sheer scale of Downfall was staggering. Over 6 million Allied soldiers, sailors, and airmen were earmarked for the operation, dwarfing the Normandy landings of the previous year. Millions of tons of supplies were stockpiled, ready to support the invading force. The industrial might of the United States was fully unleashed, producing a vast armada of warships, landing craft, tanks, and aircraft. The numbers involved were staggering, a testament to the sheer logistical challenge of conquering Japan. The Allied commanders knew that victory would come at a terrible cost. Casualty estimates varied wildly, but even the most optimistic projections painted a grim picture. Facing this impending onslaught was a Japan pushed to the brink. The once mighty Imperial Japanese military was a shadow of its former self, battered by years of relentless warfare. However, the Japanese were determined to defend their homeland to the death. They prepared for a fight to the finish, mobilizing their entire population for a desperate last stand. Japanese civilians, including women and children, underwent rudimentary military training, armed with bamboo spears and swords. They were taught to embrace death over surrender, becoming a human shield against the anticipated invasion. The skies above Japan would be filled with a different kind of threat: kamikaze pilots. These young men, driven by a potent mix of nationalism and despair, were willing to sacrifice themselves in suicide attacks against Allied ships. Thousands of aircraft were converted into flying bombs, piloted by men who saw their own deaths as a glorious sacrifice for their emperor and their nation. The Japanese defense strategy relied on inflicting maximum casualties, hoping to make the invasion so costly that the Allies would negotiate a peace settlement. Section 4. The Atomic Dawn, a new era of warfare. As the world braced for the cataclysm of Operation Downfall, a new and terrifying chapter in human history was about to be written. The Manhattan Project, a top-secret American program, had developed the atomic bomb. On August 6, 1945, an American B-29 bomber, the Enola Gay, dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima, instantly incinerating the city and killing tens of thousands. Just 3 days later, another atomic bomb leveled Nagasaki. The world watched in horror as the true destructive power of these new weapons became horrifyingly clear. The bombings had a profound psychological effect on the Japanese leadership. The emperor, once considered a divine being, was now faced with a weapon of unimaginable power. The use of atomic bombs remains a highly controversial topic, with historians and ethicists debating its justification. Some argue that it was a necessary evil to prevent the massive casualties expected from an invasion. Others believe it was a morally reprehensible act that ushered in a dangerous new era of nuclear proliferation. Section 5. A blood-stained archipelago, imagining the invasion. The atomic bombings forced Japan's surrender, rendering Operation Downfall unnecessary. But the question remains, what if the bombs had not been used and the invasion had gone ahead? Historians and military strategists have long debated the potential outcome of such a scenario, and while no definitive answer exists, one thing is certain: it would have been a bloodbath on an unprecedented scale. Estimated American casualties were 700,000 killed in action and 200,000 wounded in action. The Japanese, fueled by propaganda and a deep-seated fear of foreign occupation, were prepared to fight with a fanaticism rarely seen in modern warfare. The invasion would have involved brutal urban combat, with Japanese civilians caught in the crossfire. The mountainous terrain of Japan would have further favored the defenders, allowing them to inflict heavy casualties on the advancing Allied forces. Casualty estimates for Operation Downfall vary wildly, but most historians agree that it would have dwarfed the bloodshed of any previous conflict. Section 6. The Ghost of Downfall, a legacy of what-ifs. Operation Downfall, the invasion that never was, continues to haunt the corridors of history. It serves as a stark reminder of the terrible human cost of war and the difficult choices faced by leaders in times of crisis. The atomic bombings, though undeniably tragic, brought a swift end to the Pacific War, potentially saving millions of lives on both sides. However, the decision to use such a devastating weapon continues to spark debate and introspection. Operation Downfall remains a chilling what-if in history, a ghost of a conflict that could have reshaped the world as we know it. It forces us to grapple with the moral complexities of war and the enduring legacy of the atomic age. The atomic bombs cast a long shadow, but Operation Downfall remains a stark reminder that even in the face of unimaginable destruction, humanity found a way to choose peace over annihilation. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring hope for a world free from the scourge of war.